Stacey Matthias is going to do a really interesting presentation for us. It's a bit of a mashup of the past 2 days. Maybe today, yeah, the past 2 days. What Stacey's observed, kind of questions we're going to ask, and what we're going to learn in the future. Thanks.
Hello. Okay. Simon says, stand up. Simon says, put your hands on your head. Simon says, put your hands on your head. Simon says, touch your knees, touch your hips. Oh, sit down if you're out.
Wait, Simon didn't say
put
to
your
do.
hands on your knees. Simon says, touch your nose. Simon says, touch your ears. Simon says, touch your head. Simon says, touch your knees. Simon says, touch your toes. Stand up. Oh! Simon says, run in place. And stop.
Oh.
Simon says, shake out your arms. Simon says, touch your knees, touch your shoulders. Ooh, Simon says, touch your knees, touch your shoulders. Touching your toes. Okay. Simon says, touch your eyes. Simon says, touch your ears. Simon says, touch your nose. Simon says, touch your eyes. Master round. This is the master round. Simon says, put your right hand in the air. Very nice. Simon says, put your left hand in the air. Simon says, fly like a bird. And stop. Nice. Gosh, I usually have everybody out by this time. Really good audience.
It's at my tape.
Simon says, touch your head. Simon says, touch your knees. Simon says, touch your hips. Simon says, touch your knees. Simon says, touch your hips. Simon says, touch your ears. Touch your head. Simon says, touch your eyes. Simon says, touch your nose. Simon says, touch your hips. Simon says, touch your knees. Simon says, touch your hips. Simon says, touch your shoulders. Simon says, touch your knees. Simon says, touch your hips. Touch your shoulders. Simon says, touch your shoulders. Oh, I can't, you guys. This is the best No one ever makes it that far, and there were like 20 in the master class. That is amazing. I have to drink a glass of water after that. So I can't breathe in it. So, thank you for playing. We're going to be talking about this kind of game and other kinds of games as we go on our journey today. I want to thank Claire and Wendy and Scott and Susanna for just having this fabulous couple of days together. And I was charged with this unbelievably challenging and exciting creative mission, which was like to listen to all the wonderful ideas being shared and to try to weave it together and mirror back to us collectively what we've experienced here in these last few days. Excuse me. For those of you who don't know about Insight Kids or where I'm coming from, I work at Insight Kids, which is a research and strategy firm based in New York. And our goal is to inspire our clients to develop amazing, innovative, and impactful experiences for children and for their families. And the thoughts that I'm going to share today are really the collective effort of members of the Insight Kids team, Donna Friedman-Mayer and John Baxa. We were in our pajamas last night reading this together, so I just want to say hats off to everybody. When we approach a project at Insight Kids, our MO is to look at a new project through the lens of truth, possibility, and inspiration. So we look at a problem, a project, a challenge, and we think, well, what are the truths that we need to really understand in order to accomplish our goals? Let's look the truth in the face. What are the truths? Given those truths, what are the possibilities of what can happen? And the goal is that when we really are squarely grounded in the truth and we are uncovering possibilities, that then teams are inspired to do their best work moving forward. And there's been a lot of truth, possibility, and inspiration in our time together in the past few days. And I want to start with some of the truth that we experienced together. The first truth is that it's about time. It's about the fourth dimension. This notion of time came up over and over and over again, and it came up in so many different ways. First of all, that so many of our students are leaving school before it's time. That 25 to 30% of students are leaving high school before they're done with the work that they have to do there. It's also about time in that we all have 24/7 mobile access, for better and for worse. Where's the downtime? How do we use our time in these interstitial moments to snack and have valuable educational experiences, but also how do we power down? We also were hearing a lot about concern about time spent on screens. As much as parents being concerned about the actual content that the kids are absorbing, the parents are concerned about the amount of time that kids are spending in front of screens. They're also concerned that that's time well spent. We heard about empty calorie time. How do we avoid empty calorie time? And there's also this notion of time compression, of instant gratification, of instant reward, of not being able to linger and to wait for the impact, for the reward that we're going to get. And it was really great to hear that people want more time to play together. So that passion and that desire for play is enduring and never ending despite people's overscheduled and overpopulated lives. The other truth, second truth that I heard, is that no matter what we do as creators, developers, and producers, that kids will always play their way. And this quote, actually, I play my way, came from some groups I was doing with kids about 2 weeks ago. And the little boy was saying that he loved to play Scrabble Flash and he loved to play Ben 10 because they both had a certain way to play. They both had rules and kind of rules of the game and rules of the world. But at the same time, every time he did it, he could play his way. And no matter what we create for kids, they will always play their way. And we saw great examples of this, like Sarah's video of the boy jumping up and down for 3 minutes. And Sarah said something to the effect of, it wasn't designed that way, but kids saw what it could do, and then they took it to the next level. And that is constantly going to, whatever ideas, inspirations, technologies come out of this room, we can trust that kids will always be taking it to the next level. I also loved in Alan's video, the adorable little boy who created a game and who's one of the winners. He said, my favorite part of designing my game is testing it. So having our users really be part of the creators, which brings our very the adorable little boy who created a game and who's one of the winners. He said, my favorite part of designing my game is testing it. So having our users really be part of the creators, which brings to our second very technical term coming out of this conference, which is the truth of boundary smushing. And there's just boundary smushing happening all over the place in our conversations together over the past few days. There's most obviously a boundary smush between the physical world and the digital world. Everything from how the touchscreen has changed the way small children can interface with the digital world, gestural interfaces, augmented reality, all of these smushing the boundaries between the physical and the digital. Smushing the boundaries between playing to learn and learning to play, the notions of formal and informal learning, the smush of remix culture, of constantly reinventing new content with content that's already out there. The smush between who's the developer and who's the user, who's the creator and who's the player. And the smush of roles, who's the teacher and who's the student. In this, I don't know if Diana is still here, but talking about what it means to really move forward in a learner-centered culture smushes the boundaries of education as we know it. The game that we played at the beginning of our time together just now actually riffs on a very traditional classroom model. It's one in which, and also the language from Amy's talk, in which a benevolent dictator, if you thought I was benevolent by making you stand up, or a teacher in front of a classroom creates rules and norms, and students then absorb and follow those rules. I'd like to play another game for a moment, if you'll please continue to play with me. And I'd like us to think about this game. It's the mirror game. And I think it's through playing this kind of game that we can really uncover possibilities of what learning in the next several decades hopefully will feel like. So if you could please stand up. So turn around and face the person behind you. That was not a good instruction. Sorry. We're not in Simon Says mode anymore. That was good. So what I mean is, in between rows, look at, find a partner but across rows rather than next to you. We're going everyone, just one moment just to listen to the instructions. Yeah, some people who spend time in a preschool classroom can tell me. So, I'm not scrolling up here. Okay, we're going to have some Velvet Underground music for this activity because this is a mirror game. What I'd like you to do is to make eye contact with the person across the row from you, and you're going to take turns. We're going to start with one person being the leader and one person being the mirror, okay? So the leader, you look in the other person's eyes, and the leader will move, will make movements, and the other person is the mirror, and you follow the movements of your leader. And when I say switch, we'll switch roles, the other person will lead, and the other person will mirror. Make sense?
It is right there.
Alright, so I would do like dressing on the back. Am I the leader?
I'm doing what you're doing.
Now I'm driving the state of Massachusetts.
Okay. And switch.
Very I know. It's like so California. Oh, he's good. That's why I tend to do it.
I am doing it.
And when you're really doing it
To break down barriers of geography, race, class, culture, language, and religion. To support each child's learning the way that child learns. To make connections to learning, to family, to themselves. To give them new opportunities to be creative and use technology for personally meaningful projects. To accelerate the path to being literate citizens of the world. To allow them to be producers, not just learners, and to teach us too, just like the mirror game. To enable children to have individualized and adaptive learning and to expand their horizons. To enable kids to pursue and deepen and enrich their interests and their passions. And Scott's hope that technology will encourage kids to imagine, create, and engage with the world. And Warren's retweet of Scott's to hope that technology will encourage kids to imagine, create, and engage with the world. And to improve the quality of childhood minutes and help all children better live to their developmental potential. The possibility that technology will bring kids together across the world so that Miss America's dream of world peace will come true. To help them become more aware of the opportunities in their lives and make them happen. The hope that it helps them become engaged global citizens, that it will make us more free. That technology will make us collaborative thinkers. That technology will just be. It will be the experience of childhood, like play. So in our days together, there were so many possibilities that we observed and internalized that spurred us to think of questions like, how can we play at the edge of innovation and invention? What is the pop-up book of the future? How can we help kids favor the saver? How can the experience we create move beyond the screen and into the world? What will be the next Apache or Wikipedia? How do we create flow experiences for learning? How can we create a learning positioning system for every student? How can we make learner-centered design durable, viable, and feasible on a large scale? How can we reward kids in school for creativity, for innovation, and for play? How can gestural interfaces transform learning for all kinds of kids with different physical abilities? How can we use smart design to mitigate the potential pitfalls of technology? How do we get systematic access to users to provide them that feedback that allows them to optimize our endeavors? How do we integrate formal and informal learning and give kids credit for what they're discovering? How can we mine all this metadata and make meaning from it? How can we close the gap between kids, parents, and schools? How can we encourage kids to think of process, not just product? How do we create a theoretical frame and real-world practices for participative, connected, and situated learning. How can our values manifest in the technology that empowers and educates kids? And back to Scott, how can we create this playground of the future? My primary inspiration in being at this conference for the past 2 days is you, all the people in this room. And what I've been thinking about is how do we take this momentum, this collective thought, this creativity, this sharing of ideas, and how do we make this inspiration, keep this momentum going, and turn it into reality? The first step, being a researcher and being very grounded in truth, I think is very much about facing our fears. We heard a lot of sobering facts here about both our education system as well as the potential pitfalls of technology addiction, technology gone wrong, educational systems that can't metabolize the possibilities. We need to look all of those barriers squarely in the eye. And once we do so, take a step back and clarify our intentions. I think as Amy so clearly said, our values are embedded in the experiences that we create for children. So the more of a laser-like focus we have on what our intention is, the more we will make an impact. And once that intention is very clear, then we play. Then we have the opportunity to play with passion, to try, to fail, to try again, to be weird. And in playing with passion, at a certain point, we take a leap of faith. We take a leap of faith that something's going to happen here. And we can do that with trust. We trust yourself, trust your collaborators. There's so many brilliant people. And trust kids. Someone just made the point that kids are usually more well-behaved than adults anyway. And they'll always do what they want anyway. So at this point in the Sandbox Summit, what I'd like us to do is we head into lunch, our future conversations with each other, and the amazing workshops we have this afternoon, to hold with us through this weekend and beyond. What is the truth that we want kids to help discover about themselves? How can we help them uncover their own possibilities? And what can we do in our work to leave them inspired? Thank you.